Hi everyone, Luke here again with Kiive Audio, and today we have a really special video. I'm super excited today to talk about the vComp plugin. It's a new plugin collaboration between Kiive Audio and one of my favorite hardware companies ever, AudioScape Engineering. Kiive has done a really good job at bringing AudioScape's boutique quality hardware units into the digital world, and I'm super excited because I'm someone who works a lot in the box, and if you're one of those people as well, this is huge. So without further ado, let's dive in. Let's go. All right, so this is the vComp from Kiive Audio and AudioScape. It's a tube compressor that kind of gives a really intimate, musical, and really versatile sound. And I want to go over kind of the controls first before we dive into actually using it. So we're going to use it on a song that I'm working on. Let's first just kind of go over what we're looking at here. So firstly, at the top here, you have your typical Kiive controls. You have your presets. We won't really be using those today. You have your input and output compensation so that you can kind of level match or compensate for before and after the plugin actually does the processing. You have your mix knob, so you can control how much of your signal is actually being affected. You have oversampling from 2x to 16x. You have a THD or total harmonic distortion adjustment. I love this. It adds a really cool flavor to pretty much any source. And then you also have your sidechain filter. The sidechain filter is going to allow you to tell the compressor frequencies you don't want to trigger compression. So for an example, if you have a vocal, you're not going to want to compress the heck out of like 60 hertz and then have it, come up in volume. That doesn't make much sense. And moving on to the actual compressor unit, you have your input gain, which is also going to control your amount of compression. And then there's a drive stock switch, which is really cool because it's going to help you add some drive. It sounds awesome. And then you can flip it to stock if you want like a more transparent flavor. And speaking of transparency, we have this mode knob here. Off is like your most transparent mode. And then you have single, double, and triple. So you have all those 4 positions to kind of play with. And you have 4 different flavors of compression. It's really cool. Then you have recovery time, which is pretty much like a release time adjustment. You have a cool gain reduction meter. You have a power knob, which is really cool for bypassing. And then you have your output or your makeup gain. And then there's also this fancy style switch. You have your mod, and then you have your VNT. This is going to allow you to toggle between 2 compressors and really just give you kind of 2 flavors to choose from. Really cool. All right, so I'm going to bypass that. Let's listen to the track that we're working with, and then I'll use vComp on a few different elements. Here we go.
Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you instead, just a hint of disrespect for all the things we could have been. They'll burn us down.
All right, so let's tackle the lead vocal first, and we'll do some first stage compression with the vComp. So let's do it.
Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you instead. Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness.
Ooh.
I wanna come down to the depths with you. Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness.
So I messed with the input and just kind of got the amount of compression that I wanted, and then I kind of adjusted the output so there wasn't just a huge volume drop or volume jump post compression. I messed with the recovery time. I slowed it down a little bit. It was on kind of the fastest one with stock, and then I left it on the single mode, which is kind of that harmonic flavor. But one really cool thing that I just kind of toggled off and on was the drive, and it sounds really good with it on.
Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed
Off.
by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths of.
I love the way that it sounds. It did really more than just my first stage compression. I feel like it added a little bit of like harmonic element to the vocal that gave it like kind of the rock drive that I'm looking for in a song like this. So that's really cool. And now I want to use it on the vocal bus itself. On the individual vocal, we kind of used it as like a first stage compression to grab some of those peaks and turn them down. Now I really want to smooth it out. So let's do that.
Full of guilt and more regret, can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to.
And especially now, because we probably have some buildup from this being the vocal bus, I'm going to actually use the sidechain filter to filter out anything below probably about 200, to be honest. Now, hopefully you're on a pair of monitors or you're wearing headphones for this. You probably won't be able to hear it on a phone, but I do want to show you something. So I have adjusted the sidechain filter, like I said, rolled off pretty much everything below 200. And that's not a complete roll off EQ wise. That's just saying, hey, compressor, don't trigger for this. But what's going to happen if I roll that back while we listen in real time? You're going to start to hear it sound a little bit muddier. Let's listen.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you instead.
And then when I turn it back up, I get really just the flavor of vocal that I want. So this is a super underrated feature, and I think everyone should be using this. Next, I want to show the versatility of the V-Comp, and we're going to use it on the drum bus. All right, so I've added an instance of V-Comp onto the drum bus. Let's just kind of play around with it.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness.
Ooh.
I wanna come down to the depths with you instead.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a hint
Listen to the
of
difference
disrespect for all the things
in
we
the snare.
could have been. They'll burn us down.
All right, so I've dialed in a sound that I like. I really crushed the drums, so I kind of had to use the output and dial it back quite a bit because I did a whole ton of compression. And then I actually used the output attenuator here in the Kiive audio signature section at the top. Dropped it at about -2 dB. And then I also used the mix section to drop it to 69% because I thought that that just sounded the best. Use your ears, people, come on. And then I adjusted the sidechain to about 85.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed.
Yep, I love it. I kind of was going for the tapey, really overcompressed, aggressive drums, and I think that this really helps us accomplish that. And next, I want to use the V-Comp on bass. I want that bass to be driving, and I want it to have those tonal elements that just put it in the front of a mix, and I really think that with the V-Comp, we can achieve that pretty fast. So let's dive in.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you.
This drive switch is way too cool.
Feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you instead. Just a hint of disrespect for all the things we could have been.
I'm incredibly happy with the way that that added aggression to the bass. It feels like it cuts a lot more through the mix now. And though there may be some volume discrepancies, I'm not going for transparency here. I really wanted to use this V-Comp to just drive it in the mix, and it absolutely did a wonderful job. I think that this calls for a comparison where I bypass all the compression I just did on all the elements and we listen to it before and after. All right, so I've bypassed the V-Comp on everything. I want to listen to what we had beforehand.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you.
All right, and now I'm turning it back on everything.
Full of guilt and more regret. Can't help but feel a bit obsessed by all the thoughts of loneliness. I wanna come down to the depths with you instead. Just a hint of disrespect for all the things we could have been. They'll burn us down.
As you can hear, there's a lot more grit and grab with basically every element I put the V-Comp on. I was able to dial in really cool sounds quick and bring out the aggression that I really wanted to exist in this song. I strongly encourage that you try the plugin for yourself. There is a free trial. Do what I just did. Come to your own conclusions, but I promise you're going to love it. I want to thank you for joining me on the Kiive Audio YouTube channel. Make sure you go to kiiveaudio.com. Check out all the plugins. They're amazing, I promise you. And I hope to see you in future videos. Have a good one. See ya.